Hey, board gamers, this is Christopher Richter, known as Board Gaming for the Win. I'm going to introduce you today to Cosaic's game Zombie Tower 3D. This is a Japanese game that will be brought over to the United States pretty soon through a Kickstarter project. This game is a 3D tower board game with zombies. Now, right now, I have the game set up as a 3-player. There are additional wings that are included with it that will give you a 4-player board. Now, characters that are in the game are the firefighter, the soldier, the doctor, then the martial artist, and the detective. Now, in this game, players will be given a player card, which is called a PC in the game. So at the beginning of the game, if players feel comfortable enough, they will either randomly choose a player character or they can just pick one and play. Upon getting the player character, the players will get their standee of their character. Also comes with a deck of cards called the Emergence Pile, or Emergence Deck. It is 12 cards. In each of the cards is a room number. Now, there are 12 cards, like I said, and each one of those cards has a matching room number from 1 to 12. On the player cards, each card is identified by the name, what the character looks like, the starting position on their side of the tower, the life points that they have, and their special ability. Plus, they have an area for their survivors. They will also receive these minor objective cards, a game flow card, or a card that announces the different phases in the game, and a beginning card at random. So the objective cards and the beginning cards are random. The objective cards, each one will tell you at the end of the game the objective you need to get this many points at the end of the game. So this is a cooperative game. It's a 3 to 4 player cooperative game. Takes 30 minutes to 60 minutes to play. Might take less time, might take more time. It just depends on the level of difficulty that you have it at. An easy level, you want to start off with maybe 1 zombie per card, or on hard level, you want to maximize that and do 6 zombies per card. So at the beginning of the game, you will position your character in their starting point. The firefighter starts in the first room. Now, there are 3 levels, and each floor has 4 rooms. And on the top of the board, you will find a helicopter pad. Now, the helicopter pad has decks that have been sorted out with gear, cards, and with hazards. Now, in each deck, it signifies by level, so it's level 1, level 2, and level 3, as you can see the highlighted spaces. Now, at the beginning of the game, after all the characters dealt out and put onto the board, players simultaneously will flip over the first 3 cards. In room 5, you will have 1 zombie. In room 4, you will have 1 zombie. And in room 1, you will have 1 zombie. Now, once this is done, the deck will be shuffled. So I'm not even going to worry about shuffling it, but you'll shuffle everything back in, and then you will proceed to the first turn. Now, there is a player marker that comes with the game. I'm not sure what I did with it, but it is a stop sign. So, beginning of each turn, as you survive, players will simultaneously flip over 2 cards. Now, the first card will be where a zombie appears So in room 12, a new zombie will appear. Then they will flip over the second card, and that is where a survivor will pop up. Now on these cool little zombie tokens, there will be the survivors and there will be the zombies. When you get close to running low on the ones, there are ones with 6s and 3s to signify those numbers as they pop out. Now, once that is done, once all players have flipped over their additional 2 cards, it will proceed on to the action phase, which is phase 2. Now, in phase 2, each player will receive 3 action points. Now, these action points can be spent on either moving through rooms, searching rooms, resting, or using items. Now, when you move from room to room, it's going to cost you 1 AP. You can move through a room with a zombie in it. Zombies won't hold you back. You can move into a room. So if I move from room 1 to room 3, for a free action, I can take this survivor and put him onto my player board. Now, if you have survivors at the end of the game, you will collect 1 victory point for each survivor. I can also search the room. Now, since I am on level 3 of the board, I will search for room 3, or for level 3 cards, and I have a shovel. Now, the shovel removes a cave-in. Now, a cave-in is actually a hazard that you will find throughout the game. Other hazards that you will find are fire hazards, which are really bad. They kill off characters as soon as the turn ends, so hopefully you don't use your last AP to search the room. If you do, this is going to kill you immediately. And then zombies. Now zombies, once these come out, you put a zombie immediately into the room that you searched. Certain things that you can do is you can get gear cards or weapon cards, such as a handgun. Now, this will provide some frustration through the game. Now, handguns have to have a magazine. Now, the magazine is also found throughout these decks, but you cannot use the handgun unless you have the magazine. Same thing with the shotgun and the dynamite. Dynamite needs a detonator. Shotgun needs buckshot. One way that you can get equipment that you don't have from other players is that there are these little slots in the wall on the various levels. So there are 2 slots per level, and in putting a item card through the wall, that costs 0 points to do that. So you can share. So say your friends are playing and they're in room 3 on the, or room 2 on the other side. On their turn, they can collect that. It just hands it over to them. You could rest during your turn. If you rest during your turn, it may waste an action point, but it gets rid of one of the damage markers that you take throughout the game. And that's going to be coming up here in just a second. You can also use... you can also take a damage to gain additional action points. But you don't want to take too many of them because, let's face it, you're going to need to survive to win. Because all of you have to survive in the game to win. Now, after a player's turn, movement turn, it goes into the zombie phase, which is phase 3. Now, everyone does this at once. The zombies will move. Now, if you or survivors on the floor, zombies will move towards the survivor first and then towards the player character. If there's no one on the floor, they stay in the room, but they'll move about if something is on the floor. Now, when being attacked, they're going to deal 1 damage at the end of turn for each zombie in the room. Now, in order to prevent damage from being done to you, now this is a morbid part of the game, but you can actually take the survivors that are coming along with you, and you can throw them as bait in front of the zombies to prevent 1 damage from you. So it helps in surviving, but it is kind of a despicable thing to do. Also at the beginning of the game, because you receive the beginning cards, most of these are item cards to use. The barricade you could use during your turn. It does cost 1 action point to use it. Barricade actually traps zombies in a room, so if you have a bunch of them in one room for at least that turn, they're not moving. The firefighter specifically has an action that she can use, is she can jump from room 1 to room 9, so she can clear the second level of the building without even touching it. And the same thing when she's in room 4 to room 12. She can clear the second level, so she doesn't have to step on room 8. Other characters, the soldier, has the handgun, or if they have the handgun or shotgun, then they can remove 1 extra zombie. The doctor, for 1, he can receive a damage and turn a zombie into a survivor, which actually is pretty cool, because at the end of the game, if everyone makes it, then you're going to count up the AP, or the victory points. Sorry, you're going to collect the victory points from either your objective cards or from your survivors, if there's any left. And then the person with the most victory points, of course, is going to win the game. Now, in order to win the game, a couple things have to happen. So you have these item cards that you're going to collect as you search the rooms. Everyone must receive a vaccine. So there are 2 scenarios. In each scenario, everyone has to have a vaccine. And the first one, on top of the vaccines, at least 1 person has to have the battery and the communication device. Now, if this happens at the end of turn, if everyone is in room 2, so you see there's 2 on each side, then the game ends and it's over with the characters winning. The second scenario is that everyone must have a vaccine, and the flares have to equal the number of player characters. So at least 3 flares in a 3-player game, 4 flares in a 4-player game, and you must be in room 10, so everyone has to be in room 10. Now, to lose a game, that's pretty easy. You either get all your life taken away from you, you end up in a room with the fire hazard kills you immediately, or when all the cards in your emergence deck runs out, then the game is over. But it happens at the end of 2 complete playthroughs. So when this deck is gone through twice, if any deck has gone through twice, then that's game over and the players lose. Now, like I said, this game is pretty cool. It's going to be on Kickstarter pretty soon. They're going to try to bring it to the United States. I think it's going to be awesome. Now, this is just a preview copy, so some of it's a little rough. As you see, they have the Japanese and English translations on there. I like it. It was fun to play. I'm going to take it to, my hangouts and play it with friends and families and whoever wants to sit down and learn how to play it. Now, you can read my reviews on Board Gaming for the Win at WordPress.com. You can see me on geekspodcast.com. You can also watch my videos on YouTube. You can see my reviews on Board Game Geek. I am anime_guru. Or you can follow along on Twitter. I'm boardgaming_FTW. Thank you for joining me, and game on.